Welcome back to Week in Missouri Politics. Derrick Good, a man every Republican knows, the Jefferson County Republican guru of everything. Used to, we'd be like, when the general election was coming up, you'd go to the Jeffco guys and say, where's it going to be? Now, you got some of the primary votes, they all vote Republican. Now you're a primary kingmaker. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure to be here.
Ron Hicks, the Alec Baldwin of This Week in Missouri Politics. I'm so glad to have you back. I don't know, we should get like jackets or something or rings or like 8 timers, but thank you so much for joining us again.
Oh, you're welcome. Pleasure to be back.
Mallory Schwarz, thank you so much. First time on the show, correct? Mm-hmm. Tell folks a little about yourself.
My name is Mallory Schwarz. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the executive director of NARAL Pro-Choice Missouri.
And Representative Rasheen, Aldridge, friend of the show. Welcome back.
Glad to be
You
back.
have to have a smile on your face seeing that first interview when the Chiron's going to say Mayor-elect Tishaura Jones.
It hasn't like been gone off my face. I've been smiling all week. It's exciting.
Some people could be fair weather fans of the new mayor. You are an old school fan. Back in the day, hardcore from the jump. It had to be a fun election night to see.
It was a historic election night, clearly. But like you say, from seeing Tishaura grow, I've been working with her since 2012 when she ran for treasurer, and then she ran for mayor. I worked on her campaign 4 years ago. Lose by 888 votes was something that we just never forgot. So it is exciting for St. Louis right now.
So your political guy, the new system.
Prop D worked.
She would have won in the other system too, but from who filed. What do you think of the new system in hindsight?
I think it worked. I think, Tishaura won both times in the primary and general, but when you look at the Board of Aldermen, we was able to flip 3 seats down at the Board of Aldermen. One was a vacancy.
And
so
you think
3
that was
seats.
due to the
Oh,
runoff
absolutely.
system?
I mean, if you look in the primary, they didn't win the primary, but they was able to engage voters, educate voters, talk about their policy, get them excited, turnout was out, and they were able to win.
Schwarz, what do you think of that mayor's race? I know you're very active in Democrat circles. It looked to me like she was the favorite going in, and she ran the table.
She was certainly our favorite. NARAL endorsed her back in the fall, and we've had a lot of folks that ask, why does a reproductive rights organization get involved in city politics when these issues are often decided on the state or federal level? But we know that the cities, municipalities can do a lot to protect and mitigate the harm caused at the state or federal level, and Tishaura is committed to doing that.
How does that endorsement process work? If you're running for office and you are pro-choice, you want the support of a group like yours, how does that work?
We have a questionnaire. We do panel interviews, especially if it's candidates we haven't met before. But in this case, we endorsed Tishaura in 2017. We endorsed her in her treasurer's races, as well as worked with her when she was a representative.
Cool. Derrick Good. I would assume folks in Jeffco, your folks, aren't the biggest fans of the city politics makeup. Tishaura Jones she's not just different because she's the first African-American woman to be elected. A lot of charisma with her. A little bit of a different vibe coming out of City Hall. How's that going to reverberate across Merrimack?
Well, I'm excited because she talks about working with the region. Yep. And, I'm chair of our Port Authority, and our rivers are our future for transportation, and I'm really excited about working with her, and I think that we'll form a good relationship there.
Chair of the Port, I told you he was Mr. Jeffco. Ron Hicks, she has sat in the same chamber you have. She used to push those old boxes when they were the boxes that you had when you first came in. Regardless of who is the mayor, it is a very different politically. Everything about St. Louis is very different than, say, Butler County, right? But there's a lot of pressure on folks like Jason Bean, my senator, to introduce legislation to constrain what the city does. Those are real. Their constituents really feel that way. What is something she could do to reach out to you and your colleagues and say, hey, guys, give me some time to try some things, and then we'll look at the data and we'll see if they work. Maybe they work, maybe they don't work. How does she, I know she's not going to win over with her politics. How does she get some space to try a few things?
Communication is going to be her biggest key, and it looks like she has that. She already knows how this body works and runs. Like you said yourself, she's been there. She knows how it works. She knows how to build relationships. She's not a bridge burner. We've seen that in her race or campaign, and in the past. This is one of those elections you didn't see a whole lot of dirt come up about her.
Well, the Post-Dispatch hates her, and they hate you guys, so you have something in common,
I was just say that's okay. The Post-Dispatch hates a lot of us that are trying to do good.
Yeah, you got something to talk about, right?
Exactly. We already have something in common
there you go.
But she's one of those that comes out, we were just discussing a little bit ago, she's one that comes out breaking the bricks instead of having to break the brick wall down. Yep. She's open, she's friendly, she's outgoing. She's going to come to us, and I think one of her biggest assets is her communication skills, and I think she's going to use them.
As far as a senior member in that caucus, you're one of them. You're a very approachable person. Are you someone she could come to your office?
Oh, you
sit
bet.
down and talk, you know?
Oh, by all means, I'm looking forward already to working with her. I mean, she can see I've already tried to work with the city on a number of occasions. I might be from St. Charles County, but I understand some of the problems this city has, and I understand this is going to be a team effort. This is one of those things where it's going to take the whole village, not just one person.
Let's talk U.S. Senate race. So, you know, not a great opportunity for Democrats in this, with Joe Biden in the White House, Democrats controlling everything nationally. However, there might be one candidate that Democrats might have a shot with, right? If the Republicans nominate a certain former governor.
Well, it's tough. My organization doesn't support or doesn't endorse in federal races. We leave that to our national. However, it's a crowded Democrat field right now, and I'm looking to see who's going to rise to the occasion of being able to prioritize and protect reproductive freedom.
Yeah, former Senator Sifton, a big advocate of reproductive freedom himself. Jay Nixon talked about running. Is this going to come down to sometime around February when filing starts? What kind of chance Eric Greitens has? Is that going to affect that Democrat field?
I mean, I think we're going to be kind of sitting back, eating popcorn, watching the
fight.
the two Erics, the shorter one and the taller one. I love watching your tweets, but you know, it's going to be it's going to be a moment for us to coalesce around one candidate in the Democratic side. Let the craziness happen on the other side, and if Greitens come out as the nominee, I think that is a good shot for Democrats.
Let's talk about this, Derrick. I mean, you've essentially got almost two primaries. You've got John Bruner. Eric Schmidt is running. You've got Vicky Hartzler said she's running this week to some folks in Jeff City. Jason Smith seems like he's very interested. Billy Long's kicked the tires. You kind of have a group of one folks that this probably isn't a general race that's going to be that competitive. Then you have former Governor Greitens. How do folks like yourself get in a room and kind of decide, okay, how do we pare down this 7 into 1 or 2?
Well, I'll use his word, and we need to coalesce around one person to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I told people months ago, look, a lot of these folks are good friends of mine. There's some really good people that are considering this race. But I told
Ann
people,
Wagner is somebody. I'm not sure Ann Wagner would be the most effective against Eric Greitens.
I think, you know, she's willing to attack. She's willing to do what she needs to do. I think she's better statewide than she maybe is in even her own district. I told people months ago Vicky Hartzler was one that people in this area may not know, but she's one to watch out for. You know, she's going to run a strong campaign. She's going to work hard. She's really kind of a Reagan-esque candidate, you know, female from down in that area, so a little old school, but that may help in this primary. So, you know, look forward to seeing what happens there, but we got to come together.
Ron Hicks, probably the most interesting Senate race probably of my lifetime for sure.
Definitely.
Really, since Ashcroft Carnahan, probably the most interesting Senate race we've had in the state. You do look at these members of Congress, and you look at Eric Schmidt, John Bruner. It looks like that Eric Greitens, I mean, let's be honest, there is your constituents. Many of them will still support Eric Greitens. There's a solid group of people. He does have some support. If you cut, maybe that support doesn't grow that high in that primary, but if you cut the number of votes down you need to win, he absolutely could win that race.
Oh,
right?
he definitely could. I mean, I get Facebook teased all the time from some of my friends about, you know, they post up there, you know, Eric Greitens for, you know, Senate and Hicks for this, you know, and all this. And it's like, no. But, you know, that's one of those races. It's really hard for me, too. You got to remember, I've served with some of them members.
Yeah.
Even on the House floor, for that matter. And now I'm seeing my friends running against each other and stuff. And, I mean, it's unfortunate. I've always been an Eric Schmidt fan, and it's unfortunate for everyone else on that. But it's still a struggle. It's hard to watch everyone, you know, go at each other when you know them.
Let's say this gets to January, right? And you've got redistricting that's going to be crazy now with all this backdrop. If there's still several of these candidates in, what do you do to try to work through that?
They're going to have to sit down at a table. There's no way we can do this to each other.
Yeah.
They're going to have to sit down at a table and come up with something here.
Let's talk about Medicaid. You've been very vocal about Medicaid expansion. The voters voted for it. But, in all honesty, they didn't really say where they were going to get the money from. Now there's some thoughts of some federal money, using some of that. There's a bunch of pots you can play. Overall, I think the case is right. The voters voted for it. They should get what they voted for, right?
Absolutely. The voters passed it in August by 53%, and the initiative petition process doesn't really have an avenue to put funding into it. That goes down to these folks. It's your job. It's your job to make it happen and implement the will of the people. Medicaid.
Well, you could have put a funding source in it if you wanted to, right?
Through the petition
You
process.
just would have had it been a little bit tougher to vote, right?
Yeah. Put a tax or something.
What do you think? You're on the House floor. You spoke. What? Give me the best case for they voted for it. They should get it.
I mean, it's very clear. Like you say, they voted for it. 53% of Missourians voted for it. We know this is a huge cost saver to the state. It is going to cost a little bit of money, and that was said when the people was running
I
the
had a few
campaign.
folks sit in this chair, and I'd be like, "Now I'm just a simple hillbilly, but I would believe your case 3 or 4 years out. It's neutral. I don't believe in year one." And they said, "No, in year one." And I was like, "My white
no.
trash radar's up. I don't buy that."
And, I mean, it's going to cost a little bit of money. And like Mallory said, we could have, I mean, there could have been a different appropriation, like a tax, but who really wants to, I mean, right now
Hard to sell.
in a pandemic to say we're going to, make people pay higher taxes for this.
Our next folks sit in those 2 chairs, and they'd say it's going to be revenue neutral year one. I'd be like, "Nah, I'm just a hillbilly, but I don't buy that."
Yeah,
Give me the case for why the House did not fund this.
Well, first off, it could have been funded. It could have been in the original when they were putting this through the ballot initiative and everything. It could have been funded in that. We know that. They passed the easiest thing to get passed to the people. That's why they did it the way they did, and now they're leaving it up to us in Jeff City to fund it. It needs to be funded. I'll go ahead and say that, yes. But how are we going to do that? We're going to take money from roads, bridges, schools. I mean, this is one of those where you're going to rob Peter to pay Paul. Where are we? We're stuck in the middle of this. It's almost easier to not fund it.
And Peter was hiding when y'all were doing that budget process, wasn't
Oh,
he?
yeah, you bet.
Rasheen Aldridge with a minute left, who won the week?
Our new mayor-elect, Tishaura Jones, is a historic day in the city of St. Louis. Historic year is going to be first African-American female in the city of St. Louis.
Who won the week?
St. Louis did, with the flipped Board of Aldermen with Mayor-elect Tishaura Jones, who's going to work to bring the city together. St. Louis won.
You had a little bit to do with that flipping, I think. Who won the week?
Got to be Tishaura Jones. You walk in at a time now with $500 million to work on the city and to reach out to folks and build coalitions. It has to be her this week.
Who won the week?
I'm going to run back into Jeff City there, and I'm going to pick the gentle giant of the Mo leg there, Curtis Gregory, for House Bill 604. He got his first piece of legislation passed as a freshman.
I am going to say, in an age where it's so easy to just do crazy stuff on Twitter, where nuance and intelligent legislating seems to be a more endangered species, I'm going to say the Alec Baldwin of the Missouri Times, Ron Hicks. Your bill on keeping the gun away from somebody in a domestic violence situation is something that maybe you don't get Twitter likes on, maybe you don't get all the crazies on each side riled up, but it's actually intelligent, sensible things that are hard to do these days. And I would say you won the week, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much for that. Thank
You'll
you.
join us next week here on This Week
Wow.
in Missouri Politics.